So this is a quick build overview of the FT Bloody Wonder. I built this a couple weeks ago, um, actually before the speed build kit and the flight test plans came out. So this is based off of the flight test, I guess not the flight test, but Dan Sponholz, his beta plans just before the 1.0 plans came out. So I'm just going to go over a few of the differences that went into my build and um, why I did them. So basically you can see that it looks, for the most part, this is pretty much going to look just like the flight test plane with a few minor differences. For one thing, I don't have a rudder on mine, just elevator and aileron control. I made all the colors from this thing called wing tape, which you can get at Hobby King. Let's see if I can't. Let me show you this on camera. This is, looks like this. It comes in a big roll, and I think I got it for like $1 or something like that. Anyway, I applied the wing tape directly onto the foam board before I cut it, while the pieces were flat, and that's actually the easiest way to apply this tape. And then before I even folded the wing over, as you can see here, I have black on the bottom for orientation and right on top. I put this Gorilla Tape in the leading edge of the wing, because the field that we're at is got a lot of really hard weeds and sticks and stuff that will easily damage this foam. I did not score the wing like you would normally see on a flight test plane, where you see these sort of ridges on the top. I just elected to peel the paper off. I don't know if you can see that on camera here. If I can't focus it. Focus. There we go. So I peeled the paper off here on the inside and just did a fold over, which gave this really nice airfoil shape. So if I can't get that to focus here. There you go. It's nice and curved, and there's no sharp lines or edges here. I would recommend that if you're flying this at any place that's like a rough field or got a lot of rocks, put hot glue on a lot of these exposed surfaces. Hot glue this edge here, the elevator here, and hot glued all that here, and on the bottom you really ought to hot glue this entire bottom here. And even with the hot glue, after a few times of, I covered it with tape. Made some holes here, and so I just taped over everything. And it's actually, after about 20 flights, it's held up pretty well. One of the things that I did really different was I didn't use a power pod. I decided I didn't really want the battery to be hanging below on the bottom here, especially in landings. So I wanted to put it on the inside, so you can see there's the Velcro here. And I just put if you put the battery right here on the Velcro, it balances perfectly. I just sort of guesstimated the motor angle. It's probably hard to see, but there's a little bit of down thrust. And it works actually. It actually works perfectly. The motor I'm using is if I can't focus that. Focus. It's a 2212 1400 kV motor, and I believe this is an 8x45 GEM fan prop, and 20 amp ESC. Probably would. I put this little piece of foam board here in between these two layers, thinking that would need some extra support. I think I might just leave that out next time if I build this, or maybe move it more towards the bottom, because getting the battery in and out of here is a little bit challenging. My receiver is a Spectrum. It's a Lemon RX 7-channel stabilized receiver, and it really makes this plane fly really smooth. Let's see, anything else that's different here? Oh, yeah. I really recommend that you hot glue these hinges. Even I don't know what it is, but even with that, it's still delaminating on me. Right here, you can sort of see a little bit. It's coming a little loose right here, but hopefully I won't get any worse. Let's see. Anything else is different? Oh, I put a little. That's for my Mobius. I have a video, some aerial video from this plane. It's amazing. This plane can carry a Mobius and a 2200 milliamp battery, no problem. It flies awesome. That's it. I made this out of, one sheet of foam board. It took me about, one sheet of foam board for the wing, and then I used scrap pieces for the fuselage and the tail. I have, you probably see here, I have lots of scrap foam board here, piles of it from lots of other builds that I've made. So I just use that for these pieces, which is why this is short here. Normally this would come all the way in, and I didn't do that. Actually, you don't really need to get all that far. It'll work just fine. But yeah, it was just one sheet of foam board for the wing, and then a bunch of scrap pieces for the rest of the plane. The hardest part of building this, it took me about 5-6 hours to build the whole thing, start to finish. Probably the hardest thing was to print the plans out, which were tiled, and tape them all together, and then cutting them out. That probably took the longest, probably got 2.5 hours to do all that, to cut all the pieces out, and then gluing everything together and everything. That's actually pretty easy. And then obviously testing the electronics and setting up everything in your radio. So we'll probably start to finish about 5.5 hours, I'd say, if I remember right. And when you're, let me show you my throws and put everything in. I like a lot of elevator and aileron authority, so I put everything in the second hole here. I can't focus. It's hard to see. There we go. And I get a ton of throw. And actually, I had to dial it down in the in my radio to the travel adjust. I think I took it from 100% to 50%, and I, even with that, it still rolls like very, very quickly. The axial roll is amazing, and I can do 15-foot loops no problem with this elevator. It's a pretty stiff control rod here, so I'm not too worried about that. Same here. It's a really fun build. It's really easy to make. Just just a few sheets of foam board, and obviously hot glue everywhere to do some reinforcement. But if you download the plans and print them out, it's it's like in evening you can have a really nice plane. This is probably one of my favorite planes right now, and I'm flying it quite a bit, and it's holding up really well. Other than the fact that it lands in a really crappy field where it really does a lot of damage on the bottom when it lands, but I've put lots of tape and hot glue here, so it's holding up now. So I hope that helps your build, and definitely go. I recommend building this plane. It's like 2 sheets of foam board and 2 servos, a motor, and ESC. Can't go wrong. Well, good luck everybody, and have fun with this plane.